Okay, so Dawn just dropped their Q1 2026 roadmap, and wow, it's ambitious. And I don't just mean steady growth, We're talking about a huge strategic leap forward, all in just a few months.
All right, let's set the scene. Dawn finished 2025 covering a solid 4 million households. That's a great foundation for sure. But honestly, that's not the real story here. The real story is what happens next.
Because their target for the end of Q1 2026, just 3 months later, that number shoots up to 5.9 million households. I mean, that's not just a step up, that's like a pole vault. It's a massive jump.
So that brings up the big question, right? How on earth do you add nearly 2 million homes to your network in a single quarter? I mean, building new towers, laying fiber, that stuff takes forever. So what's the secret sauce?
While they're calling it their short-circuit strategy, and I love that term. The whole idea isn't just about building faster. It's much smarter than that. It's about plugging into powerful networks that are already out there.
And at the heart of this whole thing is something called the Tarana Open Access Network. This is the key. It's Dawn's genius move to team up with the existing ISPs and basically onboard their entire high-performance wireless networks straight onto the Dawn blockchain.
So, think about this for a second. Instead of that slow, painful process of building one tower at a time, Dawn can just integrate whole networks that are already running on the specific Tarana hardware. That means millions of homes get added to the map, like overnight. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so why Tarana? Why is this specific technology such a big deal for them? Well, it really boils down to what the tech can actually do.
Tarana's tagline pretty much nails it. Fiber-class speeds, wireless economics. Their tech, it's called Next Gen Fixed Wireless Access, or NG-FWA, and it gives you those blazing fast, multi-gigabit speeds you'd normally only get from fiber, but with the much lower cost and faster setup of wireless. And look, they're not just making this up. Here's a real-world speed test. We're talking over 926 megabits per second down. I mean, come on, that is just screaming fast.
And it's not just marketing fluff. You've got guys like Cameron Kilton, he's the CTO of an ISP called Nextlink that actually uses this stuff, and he's backing it up. He says they're getting these gigabit speeds even in really tricky situations, like when you can't even see the tower.
So let's tie this back to the roadmap. This whole Tarana strategy isn't just a standalone idea. Dawn is actually building out the entire toolkit to make this huge expansion possible for everyone who wants to deploy on their network.
If you look at the actual roadmap for Q1, you'll see the Tarana Open Access Network is front and center. It's literally the engine that's going to drive that massive jump up to 5.9 million households.
And it's supported by a bunch of other key releases, right? You've got Explorer v1.0, which is this awesome mapping tool for planning coverage. Then the black box hardware, which is kind of the brain of the operation, is finally shipping. And on top of all that, new dashboards and apps to make managing everything super straightforward.
So what does this all mean? What's the big picture? I think with this Tarana play, Dawn is showing us they're thinking differently. They're not just trying to build yet another internet network from scratch. No, they're building a platform where the world's existing powerful networks can just plug right in. It's a completely different way to think about growing a global network. And honestly, that's going to be really, really interesting to watch.
Praise the sun.